What are you waiting for? Time check brought to you by Massey Home, your way to a beautiful home.
You're watching Choice TV, the people's choice for TV. This segment of the news brought to you by Bank of St. Lucia, all the bank you need. Hello everyone and welcome to Choice News Now Prime. I'm Shane Cherry. Watch the broadcast live on our Choice TV Facebook page, Choice TV SLU, and our YouTube channel at Choice TV St. Lucia, or listen to the simulcast through on Liberty Radio 92.3 FM. In the news tonight, 2 St. Lucian students get to fulfill their education dreams without worry after receiving full scholarships through the St. Lucia Cruise Port Scholarship Initiative. St. Lucia intensifies a crackdown on illegal pesticides amid growing threats to health and agriculture. 9 Peace Corps volunteers are assigned to St. Lucian schools to support literacy and learning. And in news from the region, Guyana ferry passengers complain of delays following new safety and security measures. In our top story tonight, 2 outstanding young St. Lucians will pursue higher education without the financial burden after receiving fully funded undergraduate scholarships through the St. Lucia Cruise Port Scholarship Initiative. Now in its second cycle, the program will cover tuition, accommodation, airfare, and other educational expenses, giving the recipients an opportunity to focus fully on achieving their academic goals. Kishana Smith begins our newscast.
The St. Lucia Cruise Port Scholarship Initiative is continuing its investment in people, this time through the pursuit of education, awarding 2 full scholarships to deserving students pursuing undergraduate degrees. The scholarships presented during an award ceremony on Friday at the Windward Conference Room of the Harbour Club cover the major costs associated with university study, including tuition, accommodation, airfare, books, and other expenses related to the pursuit of an undergraduate degree. Now, in its second cycle, the initiative is designed to provide students with more than an opportunity to attend university, but rather comprehensive financial support aimed at allowing recipients to focus on their academic development without the weight of significant educational expenses. General Manager of the St. Lucia Cruise Port, Lancelot Arnold, provided a brief overview of the scholarship program.
It gives me great pleasure to be here today to award our second cycle of scholarship recipients. We welcome 2 exceptionally young women who will study, grow, and return as empowered adults, ready to make a robust contribution to our society. These scholars will soon be equipped to address critical gaps in our nation and step confidently into the leadership roles of tomorrow. The SLCP scholarship is more than just an undergraduate education. It is our contribution to building the next generation of St. Lucia's leaders and professionals. This scholarship is designed to build a pipeline of talent, equipping young St. Lucians with the skills needed in key areas that support our economy and our communities.
In his remarks, Minister within the Ministry of Tourism, Honorable John Paul Estefan, acknowledged that financial constraints often remain one of the greatest obstacles preventing many students from pursuing higher education. He noted, however, that through this scholarship initiative, recipients are relieved of that burden, allowing them to focus fully on their academic aspirations and future success.
The decision to support the 2 young women is particularly significant. Across St. Lucia and throughout the wider Caribbean, women continue to make tremendous contributions to business, education, public administration, science, technology, entrepreneurship, and community development. However, many young women still encounter financial barriers, social and institutional barriers as they seek to pursue higher education and enter traditionally the represented professions. Scholarships such as these help to remove these kinds of barriers. They send a powerful message to young women. Your ambitions are valid, your talents are recognized, and there are institutions like St. Lucia Cruise Port prepared to support your journey.
Bernice Masler, Director of the Human Resources Development Unit within the Ministry of Education, offered words of encouragement to the participants in their quest to pursue their academic ambitions.
Remember that this award is more than a financial assistance. It is a vote of confidence in your abilities and in your potential to make a difference. Embrace every opportunity to learn. Be curious. Be disciplined. Challenge yourselves to think creatively, solve problems, and develop the leadership qualities that St. Lucia will depend on in the years ahead. As you prepare to begin your studies abroad, or if you have begun, you leave not only as students, but also as ambassadors for St. Lucia.
Out of a pool of over 80 applications, the 2 outstanding scholarship recipients were selected based on their outstanding potential and are expected to benefit from full financial support throughout their undergraduate journey. The initiative reflects the St. Lucia Cruise Port's broader commitment to investing in people and human capital and creating opportunities for young St. Lucians to access higher education. For Choice News Now, I am Kishana Smith.
Former Choice News Now journalist Shine Savory has added another major achievement to her growing list of accomplishments after receiving a fully funded undergraduate scholarship through the second cycle of the St. Lucia Cruise Sports Scholarship Initiative. The award recognizes her academic excellence, community involvement, and continued commitment to personal growth. Kishana Smith reports.
From the arts onto the stage, winner of the first Carifesta Poetry Slam, into the newsroom, and now into the next phase of her academic journey, Shine Savory continues to distinguish herself as a young woman driven by purpose and an unwavering commitment to excellence. The Choice News Now alumna was among 2 outstanding recipients awarded a paid-in-full undergraduate scholarship through the second cycle of the St. Lucia Cruise Sports Scholarship Initiative. In her remarks during this scholarship award ceremony, Savory reflected on the principles instilled in her from an early age, emphasizing her lifelong commitment to making a meaningful difference in the lives of those around her.
When I was in primary school, my parents would always tell me that they are not looking first and foremost at the percentage grade that I got, or whether it was an A or whether it was 90, whatever. They said that the first thing that they're going to look at is that little section of the report card that says, were you disciplined? Were you kind to others? Did you respect others' property? That how you treat others is far more important than your academic achievements. And to this day, it has been a long journey of me learning who I was outside of academics, learning who I was outside of a culture that I was raised in academically to achieve and to really hone in on what truly matters to me. And I've learned that that is my community, and that is especially the children in my community.
Further, she reflected on her time in the newsroom, recalling that one of her earliest assignments focused on St. Lucia's Creative Industries Grant Fund.
As my time as a journalist at Choice Media Network, one of the first assignments that I had was actually concerning the Creative Economy Grant Fund, and that was a pool of $350,000 that is to be given to creatives in St. Lucia who have ideas for projects, whether it be through community development or performances or training in the arts. And over 800 applications were received. And that says a lot about how many people in St. Lucia there are who have these creative ideas, who have these ways to improve their community, who have the ways to reach people in one of the most effective ways that we have, which is through the music that we listen to, the shows that we watch, the live events that we attend, people who are able to put all of this together. But of course, none of this is possible without investment in our arts and culture.
Beyond personal achievement, Savory described the scholarship as more than an opportunity to pursue her academic ambitions.
I'm extremely grateful that, especially just looking at the fact that we are such a small island country, and at this point we do not yet have our own full university fully operating in St. Lucia, and that we have to pay all of these international student fees and face all of these, visa restrictions, all of that. And we are living in a generation where for the first time so many of us are able to pursue that education. And just 2 generations ago, we may have had grandparents who were not even able to finish their primary school education. So to be able to stand here and receive a full scholarship to do a full 4 years of a bachelor's degree and to not have to worry about paying off a loan. That in itself is a monumental achievement, not just for myself, but it really says something about how far our country has come.
For Choice News Now, I am Kishana Smith.
Financial service workers at CIBC Caribbean Bank across St. Lucia will receive a 9% salary increase and retroactive back pay under a newly finalized 3-year collective agreement with the National Workers Union. The deal includes a 3.5% increase retroactive to January 2025, followed by raises of 3% and 2.5% over the next 2 years, while reinforcing labor stability across the bank's island-wide operations. Phoebe Popo tells us more.
A collective bargaining agreement between CIBC Caribbean Bank Barbados Limited and the National Workers Union has brought a lengthy period of negotiations to an end. The agreement covers approximately 100 non-managerial employees across the bank's main branches in Castries, Rodney Bay and Vieux Fort. In an exclusive interview, NWU General Secretary Joanne Haywood explained the revised wage structure, the conclusion of the talks, and the agreement's significance amid rising living costs. Addressing the prolonged period of industrial exchanges, Haywood explained that operational challenges and specific financial topics prolonged the bargaining process.
We had a series of meetings from when the last agreement expired. So we had to manage people's schedules, availability, etc. So that unfortunately caused a delay, and you also had the more sticking points or areas such as the monetary areas, the general wage increase, the allowances and so forth. There was a lot of going back and forth on it. So I would say generally it is those areas that caused us to have, taken some time, but at the end of the day, we're happy that the time has produced these positive results.
With living costs rising across the region, Haywood evaluated how the negotiated 9% structure balances worker needs with economic realities.
The 9% that we were able to accomplish, it took several factors into consideration, cost of living being one of them. Comparisons were also made in terms of regionally, internationally, etc. We believe it's a reasonable settlement that we have reached, and there's always going to be room for improvement as we go down the road.
With back pay disbursements scheduled for September and outstanding allowance balances to follow in October, the Industrial Accord provides structured financial relief to CIB Caribbean employees across St. Lucia. As both parties prepare to formalize the accord before the Department of Labor, the settlement underscores the role of the structured bipartite dialogue in navigating workplace compensation against broader economic pressures in St. Lucia. Reporting for Choice News Now, I am Phoebe Popo.
Coming up, St. Lucia intensifies its crackdown on illegal pesticides amid the growing health and agriculture concerns. And the 9 Peace Corps volunteers are assigned to local schools to support literacy and learning. The stories and more coming up after the break. Stay with us. The news continues.
It's all about you and the dreams you believed, how you made your way ahead, all the goals you have achieved.
All along the way, you've been a partner so true, all the way you've seen me through.
We're all the bank you need. It's still about you and the life you're shaping now, all the doors that open wide, every step, every vow.
All along the way, you'll be a partner so true, all the way you've seen me through.
We're all the bank you need. We're the Bank of St. Lucia, so bank on your future. We're the Bank of St. Lucia, all the bank you need.
Celebrating 25 years strong. Bank of St. Lucia, all the bank you need.
Life is full of tough choices. This one shouldn't be one of them. Wait, 9 pieces for $35? That's crazy. But do I need KFC today? I mean, I had it. When did I last have KFC? Oh yeah, that was a good day. Okay, wait. If I don't buy it, someone else will. And what if they take the last bucket? Yep, right decision. Definitely right decision.
KFC Crazy Tuesday, because some deals are too good to resist.
Welcome back. St. Lucia's pesticide regulators are intensifying enforcement as the illegal trade in unapproved chemicals reaches record levels. The Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board warns that illicit imports and chemical misuse threaten public health, soil quality, and the local food supply. Registrar Dr. Cletus Alexander says failure to curb the practice could cause serious and lasting damage to the island's agricultural sector. Phoebe Popo reports.
Illicit trade, the illegal production, distribution, and sale of banned or unapproved pesticides is reaching a critical peak globally and right here in St. Lucia. Unlicensed sellers continue to supply farmers with illegal pesticides, often omitting basic safety protocols. Compounding the danger, many consumers cannot read the foreign language packaging, leaving them unaware of proper crop application or protective gear, exposing the public to severe health risks. Registrar of Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals, Dr. Cletus Alexander, outlines how the unauthorized chemicals are being ordered online and smuggled into the country.
Trade in illicit pesticide is a growing issue for us and globally, especially as you have now the persons can basically order pesticides online. It is an issue for us. You have smuggling of the pesticides. Basically, you can have a lot of persons coming from Martinique and so on. So the border is porous. So you have persons smuggling pesticides into the country.
Dr. Alexander warned that those caught smuggling or selling illicit pesticides will face the full force of the law, acknowledging that curbing this black market activity remains a continuous battle for enforcement officers.
According to pesticide legislation, you're supposed to, if you are caught at the ports with an illegal pesticide, you should bear the cost of exporting the pesticide to the country it came from. And for us, it's an issue because so many ports of entry, having persons to man those ports of entry, it is an issue for us. It is just like drugs. The police can never prevent drugs from coming into the country, no matter how hard we try. So the same for pesticides. So it's very difficult now but again, when you do that, you're putting people's lives at risk because it means those pesticides have not been evaluated into the country. So it means we have no idea as to what the active ingredient is and so on.
Under St. Lucia's Pesticide and Toxic Chemicals Control Act, illegal importation carries heavy statutory penalties, including fines up to $100,000 and up to 3 years of imprisonment, alongside the immediate seizure and forfeiture of an unauthorized shipment. At its core, Registrar Dr. Cletus Alexander is delivering an urgent wake-up call to farmers, importers, and consumers across St. Lucia's. Unregulated chemical misuse and illegal trade are posing an immediate threat to public health, farm soils, and food safety. Reporting for Choice News Now, I am Phoebe Popo.
And as agricultural oversight intensifies across St. Lucia, authorities are warning farmers and chemical handlers to take pesticide safety more seriously. Registrar of Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals, Dr. Cletus Alexander, says continued misuse is contributing to chronic health risks, contaminating soils and allowing unsafe produce to reach consumers. Officials are urging users to follow toxicity color codes and all safety instructions printed on chemical labels. Phoebe Popo tells us more.
Widespread chemical misuse in local farming is creating an urgent public health and environmental hazard. Incorrect dosage, ignored safety protocols, and improper handling not only degrade soil quality, but also leave toxic residues on produce, posing severe long-term health risks to consumers. To curb this growing risk, agricultural authorities are calling for strict adherence to pesticide life cycle management and proper risk assessment. Dr. Cletus Alexander, Registrar of Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals, says that while pesticides are important to crop production, they pose grave environmental and personal risks if not used correctly.
While pesticides, they're very important in terms of crop production. It is estimated that you're going to lose at least 40 to 40% of your production if pesticides are not used. That is globally. But while they are very important, they have these benefits as well. Pesticides can accumulate in the soil. They can pollute the waterways. They can have effect on your biodiversity.
The registrar outlined the testing used to assess pesticide toxicity, including the LD50 measure, which indicates a chemical's level of intensity.
In terms of the assessment of those pesticides, there are certain indicators that you look for. Take, for example, as the person doing the registration, you will look for what is called the LD50 of the pesticide. Basically, the lethal dose is basically when the product was being tested, because normally it will take at least 15 years to put a pesticide on the market. So when you're carrying out those tests, it means the LD50 is basically the amount that is, when you're applying the pesticide, that is going to kill 50% of the tested organism.
The registrar explained how color-coded labels indicate a pesticide strength and identify the crops on which it should be used.
In terms of how toxic those substances are, based on the LD50 of the pesticide, there is what is called on the pesticide label the color band. So for example, for this particular product, you can see a green color band. As a registrar, the person probably have done this over for several years. I will know, well, the LD50 of this particular pesticide in this container, which is as a directing, the LD50 is in excess of 5,000 mg per kilogram of body weight. Now take, for example, red label pesticides. You can see the green. You have some pesticides where the color band is red. Now, as I said, I've been in this thing for a while, so a pesticide with a red color band, basically, it can be classified as 1A or 1B. 1A is extremely hazardous. It means the LD50 is less than 5 mg per kilogram of body weight.
Dr. Alexander emphasizes that the high risk associated with pesticide comes directly from dosage levels and exposure, making personal protective gear non-negotiable for every application. He cautions that red label pesticide should only ever be used as a last resort when no alternative exists, and under no circumstances should they be used in vegetable production. Reporting for Choice News Now, I am Phoebe Popo.
This is Choice News Now Prime. More news coming up after the break. Stay with us.
If you suffer with pain from fibromyalgia, lupus, sickle cell anemia, sciatica, or arthritis, Lockley DeCoste doctor specialists from overseas in St. Lucia will diagnose and treat patients who have been suffering long. Lockley DeCoste specialists will treat the symptoms of stroke, brain injuries, spinal cord injuries with shoulders, elbows, knees, back, and neck pain, even plantar fasciitis being a pain of the past. Lockley DeCoste specialists in St. Lucia EMG tests will measure the damage in neuromuscular disorders and diabetic neuropathy, because Lockley DeCoste doctor specialist provides proper diagnosis using the most effective treatment for you to live free of pain.
We could do something with that extra space downstairs.
You mean where your 25-year-old nephew refuses to leave?
Stop it, Eddie. I mean, the actual space. Fresh paint, new furniture.
An eviction notice?
We could fix it up properly, okay?
Okay, turn it into a rental. Make some extra money. I just don't want a second mortgage.
It's not a second mortgage. HomeFlex gives you a $50,000 line of credit using the freed up value in your home. You use what you need and pay down what you use over time. You can also use it for investments or even pay for your vacation.
And when is your vacation here ending?
Ask about a BOSL HomeFlex line of credit today.
Auntie, call me when food ready.
BOSL HomeFlex. Unlock your home's potential.
Massey Stores Waterfront is now temporarily closed for renovations for approximately 3 months. You are welcome to continue shopping with us at Massey Store, City Store, or Leclerc, where you can enjoy double points on Wednesdays and Fridays, weekly sampling, and ring-a-ding Fridays during the renovations. Thank you for your understanding and continued support of Massey Stores. Our family serving your family.
Welcome back. The United States Peace Corps Eastern Caribbean has welcomed its 96th cohort of volunteers following a joint sub-regional swearing-in ceremony and in-country reception. More than 24 volunteers will serve across the region, including 9 assigned to schools in St. Lucia to support literacy and learning. The ceremonies highlighted service, selflessness, and the shared commitment of volunteers, education ministries, schools, and communities. Sienna Dalson reports.
Out of 25 United States Peace Corps volunteers forming part of the organization's Eastern Caribbean Cohort 96, 9 new volunteers were assigned to serve St. Lucian schools and communities in an effort to support transformations in the education sector by promoting literacy. The swearing-in ceremony and in-country receptions were held on Friday the 7th of August, continuing a partnership almost 65 years in the making between St. Lucia and the Peace Corps from the program's inception in 1961. Addressing the volunteers, Kimberly Will, the country director for Peace Corps Eastern Caribbean, assured the cohort of the ethos and legacy that they will be contributing to.
For 65 years, President John F. Kennedy and Peace Corps Director Sergeant Shriver sent the first Peace Corps volunteers overseas in 1961, and this agency has shown that person-to-person partnership is one of America's strongest methods of peace, cooperation, and understanding. Volunteers today uphold that legacy as modern practitioners of world peace through friendship.
Karen Sullivan, Chargé d'Affaires for the United States Mission to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, revealed the outcomes of and impact made by the last cohort of volunteers who supported the sub-region's education ministries and schools, primary literacy, special education, and digital literacy programs and initiatives.
And these outcomes include 63% of students that volunteers worked with in 2025 demonstrated an improvement in literacy skills on a standardized student assessment tool. 954 students participated in recreational activities to improve literacy skills. And 94% of students and teachers have increased access to the library in 2025. That is a really important accomplishment, and I think it shows how important it is that we have people working in each community with students and families to ensure that they have the basics they need to move forward and be successful in life.
Fern Donnelly, the Miku Primary School principal, presented on behalf of Peace Corps advisory members, expressing gratitude and welcoming the cohort of volunteers.
As you begin this very exciting journey, come with open minds, humble hearts, and a willingness to learn as much as you teach. Your greatest impact will not simply be measured by improved literacy scores, but by the confidence you inspire and the connections you build.
Althea Emmanuel, the Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Education Ministry, placed literacy education within the broader context of the nation's transformational developmental agenda.
Literacy is the foundation upon which all our learning is built. A child who can read with confidence is better equipped to learn, innovate, solve problems, and contribute meaningfully to society. Strengthening literacy is therefore not simply an education priority, it is a national imperative.
For the past few weeks, the volunteers have been undergoing language, cultural, and technical training as they were incrementally immersed in St. Lucian communities, forming bonds and partnerships that will underpin their service and work for the next couple of years stationed in St. Lucia. For Choice News Now, I am Sienna Dalso.
St. Lucia's 2026 Emancipation Celebrations opened with a special lecture by local researcher and author Louise Martin-Serrier. Drawing from her latest publication, On the Shoulders of Peasants, she explored the evolution of the island's small farmers and the lessons their experiences offer for shaping St. Lucia's modern development. Sienna Dalsa reports.
In keeping with the theme for St. Lucia Emancipation Celebrations 2026, Understanding Our Path to Create a Pathway for the Future, the Cultural Development Foundation continued its annual Emancipation Lecture Series launched in 2022. This year's lecture was delivered by Caribbean economic history researcher and author Louise Mathres-Serrier, whose book, On the Shoulders of Peasants, traces St. Lucia's development through the struggles and evolution of small farmers from the abolition of slavery and apprenticeship to the eventual collapse of the banana industry. Among the highlights of the lecture, comprised of a number of core lessons, is her deduction of some of the earlier ones advocating for comfort with radical action.
Sometimes your goals and your dreams do not fit into the time and space in which you exist. Sometimes the future we need to carve out for ourselves look nothing like what is typically expected of a small island state or former British colony. And it looks nothing like what was evident in the past. For example, I note recent moves to increase collaboration, engagement, and partnerships across the region with African countries. The time for the triangular trade has long passed, and the hesitation we may feel in straying from these lines that were established for us is but another legacy of colonization that we need to overcome.
Drawing lessons from the rise and decline of St. Lucia's sugar, cocoa, lime, coconut, and banana industries, Mathres-Serrier stressed the need to remain adaptable and willing to pivot. She said the collapse of the banana industry offered a critical lesson that still remains relevant to the country today.
By 1938, the shippers had to leave over 53,000 stems of bananas on the docks. Stems that they had purchased under obligation by the company through the existing contract. The company remedied this by changing the quality standards and rejecting large numbers of bananas. So they thereby transferred the bulk of the loss to the growers. Does this sound familiar? Sometimes history repeats itself. While grabbing opportunities is important, our economic history has taught us that an externally controlled rise quite often leads to an externally delivered collapse that disadvantages us.
She says the control that banana purchasers had over the industry's narrative left St. Lucian agricultural administrators and producers with an inaccurate understanding of its collapse. Mathres-Serrier used this to underscore the importance of St. Lucians independently documenting and telling their own history.
All United Fruit Company's subsidiaries closed shop as soon as their ships faced risk during the wartime, including the Canadian Buying Company, and St. Lucian growers were left with rotting bananas. And remember, I mentioned earlier, they had already gone through the process of dumping the loss on these growers. So none of this formed a part of the narrative at the time. Instead, Panama disease and local growers were blamed, and this severely impacted policy at the time and had long-term consequences.
Ultimately, Mathres-Serrier urged St. Lucians to embrace change when it is necessary to maintain collective well-being, self-sufficiency, and the independence of our people. For Choice News Now, I am Sienna Dalso.
The news continues after the break with PR Daily. Stay with us.
In the blink of an eye, the rain can transform everything. St. Lucia's rainy season is growing more intense, bringing floods, landslides, and damage to our homes and infrastructure. Flooding can damage our water supply, making clean water hard to find when we need it most. But we can prepare. Keep our waterways clean, keep drains clear, install and protect your water tanks, and collect potable water. Wasco is on the front line, ready to protect our water. But we need your support to keep our system strong. Water is life. Let's protect it, secure our water, and secure our future. For more information, call 457-3900 or visit wascostlucia.com.
Courts presents their 2026 All Range event. Be inspired at all Court stores nationwide. Come see what's new in everyday furniture and appliances. Get a chance to win an Indorama 30-inch stove with appliance purchase of $5,999 or more. Great deals on TVs and wall mounts. Everyday great value on mattresses. Bedroom bundle deals up to 25% off. Be inspired at the Courts 2026 All-Range event. Affordable convenience for your home. Only at Courts. Bringing value home. Offer ends July 25th, 2026. Conditions apply.
Massey Store's waterfront is now temporarily closed for renovations for approximately 3 months. You are welcome to continue shopping with us at Massey Store City Store or Leclerc, where you can enjoy double points on Wednesdays and Fridays, weekly sampling, and ring-a-ding Fridays during the renovations. Thank you for your understanding and continued support of Massey Stores. Our family serving your family.
Welcome back to Choice News Now Prime. Here's PR Daily with Kishana Smith.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to PR Daily, your trusted source of the latest press releases, important announcements, community initiatives, and events. I am your presenter, Kishana Smith. 48 St. Lucians are preparing to exchange one island classroom for another, traveling thousands of miles to Taiwan in pursuit of higher education. This year's record-breaking cohort also reflects a broader national idea that education must prepare citizens not merely to earn qualifications, but to help shape the future of their country. Amanda Faye Clark has the details.
48 names, 48 journeys, one national investment in human possibility. In late August of 2026, the largest ever cohort of St. Lucian scholars bound for the Republic of China, Taiwan, will leave the island to pursue higher education across a diverse range of disciplines. At a ceremony held at the Financial Administrative Center this week, the scholars received the official documents, opening the next chapter of their academic and professional lives. The occasion also marked another first: complete gender parity. 24 men and 24 women are equally represented within the 2026 cohort, a powerful signal that opportunity, talent, and national responsibility belong to everyone.
When you arrive in Taiwan next month, there will be around 200 St. Lucian students studying in Taiwan. This demonstrates the shared values of both St. Lucia and Taiwan and our common aspiration to empower the youth through education. I am proud to share with you that Taiwan is globally recognized for our innovation and competitiveness. According to the latest 2026 IMD World Competitiveness Ranking, Taiwan ranks number 4 in the world.
That partnership continues St. Lucia's quest to move beyond the traditional view of education as a pathway to personal advancement alone. Within the country's revamped educational policy direction, learning is increasingly being positioned as a national infrastructure, more inclusive, digitally responsive, connected to innovation, and aligned with the competencies demanded by a rapidly changing world. These scholarships, therefore, represent more than overseas study. They form part of a wider national effort to develop globally competent citizens who can return with new knowledge, strengthen institutions, create solutions, and expand St. Lucia's intellectual, technological, and economic capacity.
But as we celebrate you, I never forget that academic excellence must always be accompanied by service to humanity. I never want you to perish that thought. I never want you to resile from that thought. I always want you to remember that with academic excellence comes service to humanity. Use your education to uplift others. Use your education to strengthen your nation. Use your education to ensure that someone else's life is better with your influence.
For these scholars, Taiwan will offer far more than academic instruction. It will expose them to new disciplines, languages, cultures, and perspectives that may reshape how they understand their chosen fields and how they position themselves within an increasingly interconnected world. For St. Lucia, the departure raises an equally significant national question. How will the knowledge, expertise, and international exposure they acquire be translated into lasting value at home? The answer will be measured not only by the degrees they earn, but by the ideas they introduce, the institutions they strengthen, the enterprises they establish, and the communities they help to advance. 48 scholars are leaving St. Lucia. What the nation anticipates is the return of 48 citizens better equipped to help shape its future. Reporting for the Department of Education and Digital Transformation, I am Amanda Fee Clark.
St. Lucia has a new acting Governor General following the retirement of His Excellency Sir Errol Charles, who officially demitted office on July 31st after nearly 5 years of service. Acting on the advice of the Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, His Majesty King Charles III has appointed His Excellency Felix Finisterre to assume the role with effect from August 1st, 2026, ushering a new chapter in the country's constitutional leadership.
His Excellency Sir Cyril Errol Melchior Adez Charles, GCSL, GCMG, demitted office as Governor General of St. Lucia on July 31st, 2026. His Majesty King Charles III, acting on advice of Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre, appointed His Excellency Mr. Felix Finisterre as acting Governor General of St. Lucia with effect from August 1st, 2026. Sir Errol was appointed acting Governor General and sworn in on November 11, 2021, following the departure of Sir Neville Snack, who demitted office on October 31st, 2021. His Majesty King Charles III, acting on advice of Prime Minister Pierre, subsequently appointed him Governor General of St. Lucia with effect from November 1st, 2024. Sir Errol served during a period of constitutional change in St. Lucia, including the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, the accession and coronation of His Majesty King Charles III, and St. Lucia's transition from the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council to the Caribbean Court of Justice as its final court of appeal. Throughout his tenure, he discharged the responsibilities of the office of the Governor General with dignity, steadiness, and respect for the country's constitutional traditions. Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre, on behalf of the government and people of St. Lucia, expresses profound gratitude to Sir Errol for his service. The Prime Minister thanks him for accepting the responsibility to serve at an important time and for carrying out his duties with dignity and respect for the office of the Governor General. He wishes Sir Errol and his family good health and God's continued blessings. Mr. Finisterre has given decades of service to St. Lucia in education, community development, sustainable tourism, public administration, and regional development. He began his professional career in education, teaching for 18 years at every level of St. Lucia's education system. After completing his university studies in the United Kingdom, he returned home and lectured at the former St. Lucia Teachers College, now Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. Mr. Finisterre is widely recognized for his pioneering work in community-based development and sustainable tourism. He played a leading role in establishing the Sufra Regional Development Foundation and developing the Sulphur Springs as one of St. Lucia's leading tourism attractions. He was also instrumental in creating the Sufra Marine Management Area, the first integrated marine management area in the Eastern Caribbean. He later conceptualized and managed St. Lucia's first community-based heritage tourism program. In 2000, Mr. Finisterre was elected to the House of Assembly and served as Minister for Communications, Works, Transport, Public Utilities until 2005. Following his retirement from active politics, he continued working with communities and institutions across St. Lucia, the OECS, and Haiti. Mr. Finisterre has served on several national and regional boards and advisory bodies, including St. Lucia National Trust, the UNDP Global Environment Facility Small Grants Program, and the Caribbean Natural Resources Institute. He also serves as the Eastern Caribbean representative for CARICOM Canada Expert Deployment Mechanism, through which he contributes to regional capacity building and institutional strengthening. Mr. Finisterre was recently presented with a GBIS Award in recognition of his contribution to tourism development, particularly in community-based tourism, heritage conservation, and sustainable destination management. Prime Minister Pierre congratulates His Excellency, Mr. Finisterre, on his appointment and wishes him every success as he carries out the responsibilities of acting Governor General. The government looks forward to working with him in service to the people of St. Lucia.
And that's all for today's edition of PR Daily. If you have a press release that you want to share with our audience, send us an email at news.choicemedianetwork@gmail.com. Thank you for watching PR Daily, and do stay tuned for more news and updates. Back to you, Shane.
Thank you, Kishana. Let's now take a look at the local weather forecast. Get ready for Shamak. Join the charismatic Shamak Leo as he dives into current events, social issues, entertainment, and culture. With interesting and light-hearted interviews and compelling guests, Shamak delivers fun and thought-provoking conversations that inform, inspire, and entertain. Tune in every Friday night at 9 p.m. only on Choice TV.
St. Lucia Cruise Port advises the public that the sidewalk along the Vendors Arcade, bordering the John Compton Highway and Jeremy Streets, will be temporarily restricted to facilitate the construction of the new Vendors Arcade. There will be no pedestrian throughway from the newly constructed boardwalk to La Place Carénage during this time. Pedestrians are advised to use the walkway adjacent to the Castries Market and subway. Directional signage and safety barriers will be installed to guide foot traffic and ensure public safety. St. Lucia Cruise Port asks all road users to remain alert, exercise caution when navigating the area, follow posted instructions, and cooperate with on-site personnel. St. Lucia Cruise Port apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause.
Welcome back. Here's Sienna Dalson with our regional news package.
Welcome to the regional news package. I'm your presenter, Sienna Dalso. In Guyana, her passengers along the MV Militia complained of hour-long delays caused by newly introduced safety and security standards, with, as they report, little information offered on when and how their journey would continue. This follows charges laid on the captain and crew of the MV Barima last week, reportedly resulting in a sense of precarity among MV Militia's crew. We hear more from HGP TV's Javon Vickery.
More than 200 passengers bound for Region 1 spent hours aboard the MV Militia on Tuesday, uncertain when they would leave and increasingly short on food as safety checks delayed the ferry until late that night. The vessel had been scheduled to depart the Kingston Goods Wharf during the afternoon bound for Mabaruma and other communities. Instead, it remained alongside the wharf well into the night while inspections continued. Passengers said the wait was made worse by a lack of clear information. Few updates were reportedly provided with what was being expected and how long the process may take or when the ferry would be cleared to sail. Opposition leader Azruddin Mohammed, Opposition Chief Whip Tabitha Sarbo-Haley, and APNU parliamentarian leader Dr. Terence Campbell visited the wharf while the passengers waited.
He said that the MV Militia is undergoing checks
and the captain is unwilling to leave with the boat in its present condition.
Dr. Campbell said the captain was right not to sail until the vessel was considered safe. The problem, he argued, was that the passengers had been boarded hours before inspections were completed.
He wants to avoid the murder charge if anything goes wrong, because it's not going to be blamed on the Transport and Harbors Management. It's not going to be blamed on the ministers. It's all going to fall on the captain and the crew if something is to go wrong.
The opposition leader, however, made his way onto the vessel and spoke with passengers.
The captain don't have nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. The point of it, the captain, the sailors, nobody is telling us, well, listen, passenger, we in a difficult position, we cannot travel. Nobody is saying nothing to us. I tell the people that I get well, we make nice, but nobody know I get up and make nice. That's the reason why you see the American people. They're taking advantage of us.
He expressed his disappointment with the way little was communicated to the passengers who boarded hours before the vessel set sail.
For the same journey, they got to travel where the Barima went down. They're here since this morning, some this midday, some this afternoon, and no word as yet when the vessel will leave.
The delay came weeks after the MV Barima disaster, which left 73 people confirmed dead and at least 30 others unaccounted for, according to figures previously released by the authorities. The MV militia was eventually cleared and departed late Tuesday night. Javon Vickery, HGP Nightly News.
With Grenada's masqueraders set to showcase a blaze of color in just a few days, costume creators are putting the finishing touches on this year's designs. GBN News visited local costume creator Kayla Eno, who provided insight into her process and shared her views on carnival costume production. We hear more from Deidre Seeley with GBN News.
Local band producer and costume creator Kayla Eno is calling for more support for local costume producers, designers, and others in Grenada's carnival ecosystem. Eno's journey as a fancy mask costume creator began over 9 years ago when she was a young student customizing her own costumes. This year, she's producing for 4 bands in Grenada, including newly launched band Mega. Her process is usually iterative, beginning with a color scheme and drawing and guided by feedback from the customer.
She gave me a theme. It was like a nature theme, garden, and so she gave me the color scheme. I drew up a sketch, I sent it back to her, and she just said creative freedom, so we just went with that. You do kind of update them along the way and just say, is this working, is that working, but then you will sleep on it overnight and you'll be like, well, I don't like that. In the morning you'll come back, you'll take something off and you'll add something, like, I've said this is finished, I just really need some sparkle, I just need some gems.
Despite the long hours and tight deadlines, Eno finds joy in bringing the most elaborate designs to life. Just 4 years ago, she launched her own band in Carriacou, Lush Mass.
It's a family band, it's me, my sisters, my cousins, it's just all of us, and we run it together. We try to do everything we can in Carriacou, in Grenada. We want to be as homegrown as possible, so we make our costumes here, we have our own sponsors from home, like everyone we try to bring locals in, because a lot of people want to bring in foreigners. We want to make sure that people at home can play.
Eno handcrafts the pieces alongside Sam Charles, who does the wire bending. Both lamented that the industry seems to prefer foreign designers and producers. While they do not advocate gatekeeping, they encouraged bands to capitalize on local talent to keep crafts such as wire bending alive.
We have wire benders here, we have producers here. Bringing people in makes no sense, and we have our own people that can do this and keep it homegrown. I do also think we need to maybe, even if it's a class, just to teach the younger people, because they're seeing all these things from like Trinidad and other carnivals, and we have our own things here that we can keep and show them.
It should be interested for more people to come in and work with us and work with people in the industry to make it better for us Grenadians.
Eno acknowledged the pricing concerns of some consumers, but encouraged them to consider the behind-the-scenes costs that go into costume making.
You have to remember that includes labor for producers, shipping costs for materials, your food, your drink, your DJs, your truck, your goodie bags, your full experience. There's so much that goes into it. So I know the price points can be a bit higher, but at the end of the day, depending on what band you're paying for the experience and for the quality. I definitely say for the quality is a major one, because you could be paying and you'd be getting something terrible, or you could be paying and getting something really, really good. depending where you're going.
Eno is encouraging all to preserve the authenticity of Spice Mass by supporting local producers. Deidre Seeley, GBN News.
And that's all for the regional news package. Back to you, Shane.
Thank you, Sienna. Our final segment coming up right after the break. Stay with us.
Massey Store's waterfront is now temporarily closed for renovations for approximately 3 months. You are welcome to continue shopping with us at Massey Store's City Store or Leclerc, where you can enjoy double points on Wednesdays and Fridays, weekly sampling, and ring-a-ding Fridays during the renovations. Thank you for your understanding and continued support of Massey Stores. Our family serving your family.
Every building pulses with its own life and energy. Let's ensure yours shines with health and vitality. Lewis Industries infuses life into every corner of your buildings with tailored cleaning solutions. From conquering mold and mildew, restoring floors to their former glory, to meticulous post-construction cleanups, washroom sanitizations, and caring for delicate fabrics and upholstery, our comprehensive services covers all your building cleaning needs. Create an environment that boosts productivity and leaves a lasting impression, because clean is not just an appearance, but a performance. Bring your workspace to life with Lewis Industries. Call us at 450-4060 or visit us at www.lewisindustries.ltd.com to schedule your professional cleaning service today.
Welcome back. Before we end tonight's broadcast, here's our upbeat update. After nearly 6 decades of building gray-white boats into a highly successful company, former CEO Eddie Smith Jr. has chosen to turn the business into a permanent source of philanthropy. Smith reportedly rejected several offers worth close to $500 million because he feared a sale would destroy the company's culture and values. Instead, he transferred controlling shares to a purpose trust, which will ensure the company is never sold and continues operating according to his principles. The remaining shares will support a social welfare organization that will direct company profits toward charitable causes, community development, and conservation. Smith grew up near poverty and worked long hours to rescue Grady White from near bankruptcy. Under his leadership, the company grew into a business earning more than $100 million annually. After losing both his wife and son to ALS, Smith became more focused on preserving his legacy and helping others. The trust will also continue programs such as profit sharing and employee education, allowing the company's success to benefit workers, communities, and charitable causes for generations. And with that, we come to the end of our primetime newscast. On behalf of the entire Choice TV family, thank you for staying with us. Stay tuned for more quality programming on Choice TV.
Advertise to a captive audience. Make your business a star with Choice TV. Call today for your advertising package. Make the right choice. Call 728